Welcome to Different Gravy, not just another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Richard Miller. And today we face the club that refused to sit back and take it when something special to them was taken miles away. They dug in and fought and eventually formed a Phoenix club accepted by the world as the original entity in spirit, history and name. I too vouch to fight until my dying breath for recognition of my own Phoenix Luke, made up of things I've stolen from him and bits of hair I hope is his. I will wait until the day that is recognised as the original, and until that day, I'll have to put up with this guy on a video link from Canada. Please welcome my co-host, Luke Calgary Gledall. How are you doing today, Luke?
Very good, Rich. Thank you so much.
The MK Dons of Luke's.
The MK Dons of Luke's. Wow. Wow. Maybe the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. And possibly the worst. So there we go.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Trying to stay kind of upbeat, trying to, despite maybe the sucker punch that happened today, which we'll get into.
Foreshadowing.
Pretty foreshadowing. Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, it's similar, really. Yeah. Was having a really pleasant day till, about an hour into the match, and then everything was thrown up in the air. Yeah, that kind of thing. We've had a weird, I suppose, I don't know whether it is Indian summer-esque, but we've had some weird, warm weather in the UK, despite the fact it's October, and it was reasonably sunny today as well. So, there's nice things to focus on. But we have chosen to make a podcast about Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, and therefore there will be no nice things for us.
Exactly.
Should we talk a bit of news?
Sure. Let's start about all the nice things that we're deprived of.
Breaking hoo-hoos.
Only really news in our little corner of the Wednesday universe, but we did want to mark the fact that we've received a rather intriguing and fun email from listener Paul. So he's. I just wanted to say thank you for that, but also, do you? So the nature of it is looking at that a kind of maybe a Yorkshire or Sheffield mindset was built up from miserable conditions during the Industrial Revolution, so that you kind of had a generation of people that were fairly glum. And his idea really is that this modern day Sheffield Wednesday are a means of continuing those genetic traits and sort of really breeding them into the populace going forward. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like, I suppose we both talked about how today has been derailed by Sheffield Wednesday. So certainly on a day in the weekend basis, Wednesday can really ruin your mood. And I have at times been in positions where they've ruined my mood for the whole week.
Right. So the Saturday is the room for the bread and circus. It's just someone's pissed on our bread and the circus was a bit shit, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, no, it was a really interesting email because it made me think a lot about. It's interesting because I guess it doesn't really kind of offer us any kind of question or things to debate, but I was really impressed with thinking about that and thinking about how cultural traits are kind of genetically kind of passed down to people, and how cultures and places have very, very much have a mentality to the people that are there, and I think that kind of directly translates to the UK, but I think the thing that we think about in England, just to focus on that small country amidst the other countries of the UK, it's incredibly segregated from where we are. Yeah. Like it's north and south is a giant divide. It genuinely feels like a different country. And interesting that, in terms of counties just being incredibly micro micro differences between what I kind of see here in Canada, and I'm sure what people observe in the States, where you have giant provinces and giant states that are very much different kind of markings of people.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought it was very interesting. But, you know, I think we often joke about, I think all Wednesday fans joke about this as some type of conspiracy to kind of keep the misery going.
Yeah.
You know, we all thought EastEnders just lived in some really doomed part of London, but apparently there are other areas of just pure neglect and shittiness.
Well, there you go.
In my fair hometown of Sheffield, England.
That's nice to squeeze in a bit of social science, and I suppose in terms of that whether it's a genetic trait or whatever, you've got nature, nurture, and Sheffield Wednesday. They're the three presiding forces in deciding where someone ends up in life. And
I feel like we're all trying to. Maybe it's interesting to think about how, like, maybe genetically with families, I think like there's a bit of an influence there. There's probably also. It makes me wonder about whether people try and specifically break the cycle that they're kind of genetically given. I think there's a lot of repeating of sins and errors from people, but I'm wondering whether some people are like, I'm born in California, but I'm going to be fucking miserable for me and my children. And maybe the vice versa. Maybe that little beautiful little hovel of Essex, some people are like, we're going to try and smile. We're going to try and break the cycle of this. And maybe that's also the segue to talk about like this world of non-news. Luke has a little bit of reporting on the media team who've really gone into overdrive this week.
Yeah, I've titled this Luke's Pithy Bits, which feels like it should have its own like drop. Maybe in the future.
We do. We need to spend some more time
Luke's Pithy Bits.
A bit like Heather's Hole on How Did This Get Played?
Yeah. So for some reason, I'm picturing like almost like a barbershop quartet.
Luke's Pithy Bits.
So Luke's Pithy Bits.
Luke's Pithy Bits. So the media team, we just thought we were going to get some training videos, including Lee Gregory pretending to be a free kick obstacle. Did you see that picture?
Yeah.
That was good. We thought that was all we were going to get for this week. But then, folks, then they did a Black History Month video, which I thought was really fantastic. Interesting and great to hear the players talk about something very important to them. But generally touched and intrigued by the video, and especially how eloquent Shea Dunkley is.
Yes.
I think the interesting thing, and also because he was on media duty, so he was doing a lot. He was doing a lot of bits.
Busy.
From the House of Dunkley. And also I think especially after his bizarre interview, we have one of these rare characters at the club that can have a decent media career afterwards.
Yes.
As they can very much they have a bit of a characteristic. There's kind of notes of kind of David Prutton about him, the slight kind of eccentric talker that is just such a rarity within football. So I'm sure we'll see him doing some his own pithy bits on EFL Quest when we're still in the third or possibly fourth tier in 3 years, and I get those adverts on iFollow for Quest. He'll be there having some bants with Colin Murray and Clinton Morrison, I'm sure, and all that stuff. Did you see his media kind of interview? Did you see the thing about him talking about player nicknames and that he's the one who gives the player nicknames?
I didn't know. That's interesting.
So, okay, I'll tell you about this, Rich, then. So he declared Iorfa to be the body catcher.
Wow.
Which is oddly poetic and scary. And it also makes me wonder, while we're talking about future media careers, maybe we could imagine kind of a dramatic vehicle for Dominic Iorfa, where it's some kind of criminal procedural show where he investigates murders as a coroner, but he also kills people in a very Dexter-like fashion. He has an odd morality. I think that'd be very good for Dom.
Yeah. There's also, though, I believe, and I think I've really had this confirmed to me in the coolest way possible in reading a news story about Adele. And I believe the kids talk about a body count in terms of how many people you've had sexual dalliances with. Do you think he is potentially kind of, dubbing him Dominic Shaggerai Orfer?
He could be. I mean, he's a tall, strapping, striking gentleman.
I'm sure he could catch a body anytime he likes.
I'm sure if he wants to do that. I don't know.
I don't want to cast aspersions. I believe he's a married man. So hopefully this is not the case. But I don't know. I'm just wondering if that, that's, as I say, that's what I believe the kids are talking about is body counts nowadays.
Right. So you're kind of getting in Dom's ear. I mean, by getting in Dom's ear, you'd have to ask them to crouch down and say, look, we know you're a decent human being and a very, very happily married man, but you could really chew up the scene if you're going, Dom.
Oh dear. Any other nickname?
I don't think they had some other stuff. I can't remember who else he gave a nickname to that was kind of weird. He's got a very interesting take on nicknames. I don't think they're very much like, they don't seem to...
They're pretty esoteric.
Yeah, they don't seem to kind of... they're not that kind of fiber of the stuff that carries over. It's not like...
It's not palms and pats.
No, and it's not like some of those kind of clever ones, like, I don't know, like, I know one of my brothers worked with someone who didn't have a clue, so everyone called her Scooby.
Nice.
Things like that. There's not that kind of like charm to it. It's not like it's just from kind of the depths of Shay Dunkley's intellect. So how surprising did I find this, Rich, that they did a very pertinent Black History Month video with our Sheffield Wednesday's black players and talking about who inspires them and, big history. Shay Dunkley went very deep, very intellectual. And then we had two of those characters, Den and Shadipo, then go off and do the Sheffield Wednesday HelloFresh challenge.
Yeah.
I said, by the way, I'm old and grouchy, but why is everything a combination of things to be something times something else?
Yeah, I don't understand.
STFC X HelloFresh.
Yeah.
Finally, banging together. I don't know. I don't know. It's a trait I found, I think, from, I don't know where it comes from. I fucking hate it. Is it Ed Sheeran's fault? Yeah, let's blame Ed Sheeran. Fuck. Let's do that.
Yeah. Damn him.
I don't know. So anyway, Shadipo and Den served up a meal from HelloFresh instead of some knowledge. Highlights and insights from the video for me. I was like, they should really do this at home instead of a professional kitchen. Because so they actually did it there. I mean, I get why, because it's the context. Yeah. But like...
Did you not like seeing them in their little pennies?
That was nice. That was funny, yeah. The little Sheffield Wednesday apron. Like the bit at the beginning where it went up to the shirt and the thing, then it comes down, it's like almost like a record scratch. Wait a minute. Oh, they're donning a different blue and white. No, I don't know. I don't know if they'd have lesser means, because I think they probably have some decent kind of cooking equipment at the Sheffield Wednesday kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't know if some things they would have done differently, including, let me see from my notes here, Rich. Technique of boiling pasta and leaving it the fuck alone in a probably unsalted pot for ages. There's much difference in a better pot than one at home. Also, they used too big a pot for the pasta tomato sauce as well.
Oh,
gotta tell you this. I was like, that's way too big a pot. Like, there's just, you need it. It's just,
It's a kitchen built for volume.
And I was thinking how wank this was until Den smiled, and then I was kind of won over by it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I also enjoyed So being served it.
Yeah.
He was looking at it like they offered their feces on a plate to him. He kind of had this first look at it. Like, what is this? Kind of like holding up in his hand. That was fantastic. And it also makes me wonder as well, if the media team want more things to do, and if things are just so glum with Sheffield Wednesday that we have enough of these crap like performances where we're just kicked in the balls repeatedly, maybe they could do a Sheffield Wednesday Come Dine with me.
Oh, I'd like that.
Yeah. Get round to Action Masses.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going to say, Attraction Mass, once again, tantalizingly in the background of some of these videos, as if to say, he's coming soon kind of thing. upcoming attractions an actual midfielder.
He's having a scene in the Darren Moore cinematic universe post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Wait, so in 3 films' time, we're going to have a film on Massimo Longo.
Stubbing out a cigarette and walking away from a burning building. as we fade to black is Traction Mass. I love the HelloFresh video. It's very good. Do you think did you get the impression that Shodipo and Adeniran maybe share a house?
That's interesting. Well, you think they kind of moved up here,
and then they just he doesn't cook at home. He doesn't cook at home. Oh, he's like, I don't cook at home. I don't know. I don't know. I just wondered. Because I think like we imagine these sort of very glamorous lifestyles, but if you're Shodipo and you live in London most of the time, and you have this sort of sabbatical to Sheffield, I'm guessing you're not probably buying a new house. But anyway, I don't know.
It's a nice idea. I like, and they're both probably Landon kiddies. So yeah, like that's interesting. I guess also because you don't really know their barometer towards. I mean, I'm always staggered when there's some kind of insight into NHL players' wedges and they're off giant multi-million-dollar contracts, and then some of them just rent houses here in Calgary. And I'm like, wouldn't you? Yeah. I don't know. I have a weird mentality of like, wouldn't you just buy somewhere and then just start like a little mini property chain or something? Get something for yourself. Like you have the money for it, but it's weird. Yeah.
I looked up what a kicker gets in the NFL and was pretty like blown away.
On the good side or the bad side?
Like millions of dollars they're on.
Yeah, and they also have the benefit of the fact that they're not getting CTE on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
And they have long careers. Yeah. Oh yeah, be a quarterback or be a kicker, basically.
I think it is just kicking in a straight line. And a lot of them don't really look like, they're not like prime athletes, Anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like they probably get the worst salary on the team, but still a nice salary.
Still a decent salary, yeah. And then you can have a long career, right? It's pushing the kind of Tom Brady regions, right? Of playing into your late 30s, early 40s.
I mean, you probably don't even feel that sore after a game. You've kicked a ball like 4 times. Brilliant. Anyway, should we talk about the game?
We should. I guess the interesting thing was that previously we diverted and went and talked about some other crap as we usually do on Different Gravy.
Yes.
But that context of players being injured with Massimo Luongo probably, I think, brings us on to talk about the lineup today. Luke loves lineup.
Yeah. So we knew going into it that we weren't going to see Gibson or Hutch again. That was sort of ever. No, they've been disposed of. This is interesting. So Wildsmith keeps his place, rewarded for his clean sheet, presumably. No Adeniran at all. Maybe gave himself food poisoning? Question mark.
Was there any Shodipo as well?
Yeah. I think maybe.
Maybe
he was on the bench. He was on the bench.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe they have worked on the Come Dine With Me and it's gone badly. Maybe.
A rare, as hen's teeth, start for Fizeo Deli Bashiru, and a bench entirely made up of wingers and strikers, apart from Bailey Peacock-Farrell, who's fit enough to make the bench. So what did you think? When that was unveiled?
I didn't feel too happy with Wildsmith starting, following a string of some semi-decent performances. And also knowing like the context that this is, please tell me, Rich, please tell me that this is the last international break.
I don't know, unfortunately.
Of the year until like March, I think. I think that's the case. I'm going to say.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
Both silence as we both look. One of us should be vamping. Interestingly, I think Wimbledon had the week off because of they had enough players out for the international break. In particular, the last guy they brought on, Henry Lawrence. He played for England under 20s.
We've got another one on November 14th.
Okay, yeah, they're endless. The greed of FIFA and the endless. I mean, there's no appetite for this. A lot of this international football, but they will keep doing it.
Well, it was really funny. I remember like a conversation about, it was still pandemic. So I don't think, and who knows what is peak pandemic, but early on when it was more established and we didn't have vaccines, this conversation, someone's talking about like an article on Facebook talking about, just how bad it is that players are going off and playing international football during this time, which is a fair comment. And someone's like, well, they're entertaining thousands, and I'm like, probably said from someone who has no basis on just how tedious international football is.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
By the way, I really wanted to send you a video, Rich, of I was watching some of the international football highlights, and I saw the Scotland Faroe Island highlights, but they were given to me from a Spanish commentator, Spanish football feed. So I need to send you that. He was bizarrely talking about Callum Patterson.
Oh, there is a Patterson that plays. Was it particularly Callum Patterson? But it wasn't the other Patterson.
I think it was the other Patterson, but I think he was confused. I think he was definitely talking about Callum Patterson. Right. So I need to send you that because it's funny to see mentioned.
It is Patterson, not the Callum Patterson that we all know and love.
And like the weirdly kind of English American pronunciation when they announce anything English.
Oh, okay.
In this case, it was very, very funny. Looks like there's another one in November.
Okay.
Damn it.
Almost.
Damn it.
Almost the tyranny of.
Because I don't mind seeing Wildsmith for these cup games, for a little bit in the league, but maybe we're home to Gillingham on the 13th of November. So if that's the time.
You can't imagine Gillingham being awash with internationals, can you?
Who fucking knows? There's I know. It seems like there's only like 4 games in League One football that go ahead on international breaks.
I think it's because so many people have like Chelsea and Man United youngsters, and
they're all under 21s.
Yeah, one of those big clubs, you just get picked for the youth ranks for England, don't you?
Yeah. So, despite the fact that hopefully that's the last time, I mean, I guess it probably won't be. I can see the argument for resting Peacock Farrell when he's back, but
his worst performance for us was after an international break last
time. I know. So that kind of makes you think, let's just let the guy have a break,
Yeah.
Especially when
it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't, because we'll get to it. I mean, he was damned as he did this time, but you can sort of a poor goalkeeper performance either way is going to ask questions, but you have to make a decision at the end of the day. So sort of fair enough, I think, really. I think if he'd made the change back and it had gone badly, I think that would have been more of a crime than keeping the team together that kept a clean sheet last week. I think you can. That's a good reason, as good a reason as anything.
Sure.
And I suppose it shows Wildsmith that it's a possibility for him. It's not always going to be Bailey Peacock Farrell's position, so it's worth him kind of keeping his eye in or whatever. I don't know. So we sort of ended it was sort of a back five really most of the time, with Hunt on the right and Brown at left wing back, and then that three of Iorfa, Dunkley and Palmer, and this time Dunkley was certainly in the middle of the three, rather than Iorfa as we'd done previously, and then Deli Bashiru and wing in the midfield. Patterson sort of doing this new up front but not up front type role, and Gregory avowedly up top.
Which is interesting because I thought that, especially with the presentation of a lineup on Sheffield Wednesday's Twitter, we're just seeing the team sheet, and seeing Brown near the end of that made me thought he was part of that front kind of trident, but that's interesting. It makes more sense because I felt like, I definitely felt we will talk about this. Near the end of this game, I felt like we saw more of Brown in the left back position.
Yeah.
But, during some of the swashbuckling adventures of our attack today, I thought I saw him more as part of up top in that kind of
But then Hunt was very involved up top as well. I mean, he put in so many crosses today.
Well, I could see how you could go from a
pretty well,
kind of wing back kind of role, especially, Hunt was fantastic. He was everywhere. We'll get into that. The rest of the lineup, I didn't think it was terrible. I guess this is what we're living with now. We don't have a defensive mid presence.
No.
Because Hutch is much better at centre back, and Luongo's injured, and Byers is still injured, apparently.
Yeah.
Not that I think he's a great DM, but, it's kind of dropping to kind of mop some things up, I guess. Yeah.
This is the classic problem with, when people do like 2 players for every position and they have Palmer in as the second or third player in every position. It's like, that's fine until Palmer gets injured. And we've had the Hutchinson equivalent of that. It's like, well, if we play 3 centre-backs, we've got 3 centre-backs because we've got Hutchinson, but we don't. And so, and same with the midfield. You go like, oh, well, we've got defensive midfielders. We've got Byers, we've got Luongo, and we've got Hutch to fill in. And it's like, well, you're always only an injury or two in one key area away from looking exposed. But then it's interesting today, the lack of a defensive midfield, I don't think is what hurt us today.
Fair enough. Yeah.
By and large. But yeah, it's interesting. So the very first thing I noted that happened was Wildsmith was immediately headbutted by a member of the new old crazy gang, just stamping their mark on the match.
Yeah.
I thought he looked it was like on the cusp, it was on the periphery of what the camera was covering, but I did think it didn't look good on him. I thought he looked like he looked a bit wobbly, like a boxer that's been clipped. Whether that was him just sort of hamming it up to make sure that play was stopped, I don't know. But to me, it looked like he kind of lost his balance a couple of times. Just from, as I say, we just saw it. He was on the edge of the screen twice because the camera was following the ball. But he managed. He didn't. He got a brief bit of treatment and was fine after that.
In that, did you? So that was following a free kick. I just want to comment.
Yeah.
Did we see the worst fake out from a deep lying free kick from Wimbledon? Did you see like Hartigan was doing this?
Yeah.
Like he ran up to it and just shit himself, basically. It was just nonsense. Like, why do you need to do a fake out from a deep lying free kick?
I don't know.
Like, we all know you're going to put it into the box. It's not like...
They liked doing that, though, didn't they? They did that almost.
They did it a lot, and it was just poor. I'm like, they're saying on our commentary from Radio Sheffield, like, clearly they're trying something from the training ground. It isn't working.
No.
I don't know what the idea was.
I had the Wimbledon commentary, by the way, and he really, really loved a pun. And in particular, ruffling the owl's feathers was something that he said 4 or 5 times. Each time with the glee of having made it up himself on the spot. There was a smugness, a self-satisfied smugness to it.
Yeah.
Ruffling the owl's feathers today. Turns out they thought they were going to come along and have a smooth sail, but today it's actually Wimbledon that have ruffled the owl's feathers. At one point he did a really long allegory as well, like... I think like Dunkley sort of dawdled with it at the back, or Deli Bashiro did, and he said, "Oh, we thought it was going to be a short story, but there's enough content there for a mini series." And then the ball went out of play at the other end, and that's the end of that episode for the Owls. Just like you could tell, he was like almost stroking himself under the table. Pleased he was with his wordplay.
It was interesting because I did feel it was. From the off, it was a bit nervy for Wednesday.
This is the period of the match that commentator called the bombardment by...
if they're ruffling our feathers, it's like they're trying to give us a stroke as an owl. Yeah. And we are an owl and we're a nasty piece of shit, and we just kind of turn and look at them like, the fuck are you doing? Basically, like it... Yeah,
It's the closest I think they came to producing anything really until much later in the match was that initial period. You're right. I think we looked a little bit shaky. I do think Wildsmith took a pretty hard bump, whether it actually affected his balance or not, I don't know. But we looked a bit. We took us a little while to get into the game. But then I think most of the telling chances went our way. I think most of the, like, you know, that one of these stats people like to track is touches in the box. I think when it came to touches in the opposition box, we were the ones ruffling the bloody feathers, Luke. I'll tell you that much. Because there's a chance around the 10-minute mark. The first one I've got a note. Yeah, the first one I've got a note of really is the one at the 14 minutes. But have you got anything about the 10-minute mark one?
Yeah, Bannon throws a through ball out to the wing. That's Gregory leaving off to Brown. And then he fizzed in a low cross that came off the post.
And that's where, I think so, yeah. And then Brown, when it came back out to him, was like kicked about 7 times and then kicked one Wimbledon player and the foul was given.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah.
So I've got because I think Deli Bashiru had a moment in there as well. And then my next note is 14 minutes. FDB involved again, but cycling the ball to Bannon, who fizzes one into Gregory, takes a perfect touch, puts his marker on his back, and slots home left-footed into the far side of the goal. Wonderful stuff.
Oh, it's a great finish.
It was so good.
It was a great ball from Bannon, but then even giving it to any player in that position, you've got stuff to do. You've got work to do since, and Gregory just made it look so effortless. You know, dinked it back around, kind of readied himself, swiveled in a great shot, placed in the corner. Bang. 1-0.
Really, really wonderful goal. I think he sort of played his marker as well, because I think he sort of showed him like he was going to go down the line, you know, go down the left, to take the shot on his right. But when he swiveled back on himself, his centre back was just completely thrown on the floor by the shift in momentum, and that's what bought him the space to get that great shot away. Really good stuff, and clearly a man that's kind of feeling himself at this point in time, which is nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, after ends, that was his 4th goal for the season.
Yeah,
you know, which at this point in proceedings, almost about a quarter of the way in, is pretty decent. Yeah,
pretty decent stuff. 18th minute, good chance for Wimbledon. Iorfa clumsily fouls his man in the sidelines. The resulting free kick is whipped in and just misses the top corner of the far post. That was one of their, again, it was a step over from one of them, wasn't it? And then the other one smashed it in. Because I think because that's the thing, one's left-footed, one's right-footed. So that I think that's the reason that they both stand over everything is it's a bit harder as a defence to set up, not knowing whether it's going to be in swinging or out swinging. So this time the guy that would be crossing it skipped over the ball, and the right footer had a shot instead, which was pretty close.
Which is Hartigan, who I think is one of their best players. I think it's kind of seen he's very kind of in the midst of everything good that they do. That was a really dangerous. I mean, we don't know whether it was a cross or a shot. What did they kind of say? It was more of a shot, I think.
I think they were treating it like a cross. They were sort of saying, "Oh, he almost got too much on it," which made it hard. But I thought he hit it hard. I think he was aiming for that far. I think we know Wildsmith leaves a lot of the goal open to cover his near post. So I think he was trying to hit the top corner. I think it was a shot to me. Maybe it speaks to the actual quality of the shot that we're not sure whether it was a cross or a shot in the end. But I think
so.
The intention was to hit that top corner. I guess if you get close, you can produce one for somebody with a towering header can just tap it in at that position, can't they? But it wasn't close enough.
Yeah, that was probably one of the only few moments I felt from this game that Wimbledon looked dangerous.
It's really mainly set pieces, wasn't it? That was my note at half time once we got there. Other than set pieces, really didn't threaten very much. In open play, they didn't really get anything going, I don't think.
No.
23rd minute, I got a decent volley from Patterson after a Hunt cross.
That was a really good turn and hit, yeah. Yeah,
he put it across the sort of edge of the box, rather. There were men that he could have stood it up for a header for, but he cut it back across to Patterson. It was, a decent effort. Good save from the keeper. So I've got 27 minutes. Dunkley yellow carded.
Yeah.
Ref seemed to point to Iorfa's previous foul as justification. Dunkley is incensed. Happy Black History Month, folks. Because I'm pretty sure Dunkley was convinced he'd got his black players mixed up.
Yeah, it was not a good decision by the referee. I was going to say with that one. That's my note around that. That was not good.
No, it's just the sort of. I mean, it was just the sort of coming together that happens like hundreds of times every game.
There was a lot of those. I mean, the ref was quite happy to blow for anything. I don't think it really. There was still a game to be played, and it still looked like. I mean, this was, albeit for a game that we come out with it with a point with 4 goals. It wasn't too bad a game. It was quite an entertaining game, I must say. It
was quite an entertaining game. I think, the ref was interesting. He did seem to be one of those that kind of it was a democracy. Whoever shouted loudest or had the most hands up kind of got most decisions.
Yeah.
And that meant it took a while for him to give things a lot of the time. Like Iorfa got one for a high boot, and there was no danger to the play, but it was like, 3 Wimbledon players put their hands up, so they got the foul, and there was something else. So I think Bannon got his shirt tugged and was really angry, and the ref seemed to let it go. And then again, like Bannon made enough noise that he sort of reluctantly blew his whistle. Noise-based refereeing. I've said for the period of between the 27th. I've got another good Hunt cross and a Wing header that asked a question of the keeper. I think Wing could have done better with a couple of chances.
Definitely, very much so. Yeah,
he's tall enough to make an impact when he gets in the box like that. But he just didn't really make the most of this one. It was a good ball in by Hunt again.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, I love the build-up work in that one, because Deli Bashuru, he surged into space from a Gregory through ball. I mean, that happened quite a lot. He seems to be one, like, we talked about Deli Bashuru being one who looks like he's capable of breaking the lines.
Yeah.
But that was really good. And then you cycled it back. Great Hunt cross. And I said a tame header from Wing.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk about it at the end or when he comes off. But I thought Deli Bashiru had a good game today. I thought
he was too.
I think he carried a threat quite often, and I just love his strength, because I think people look, because he's obviously young and he's got a boyish look to him. I think people just assume they'll be able to bully him, and then he just kind of like brushes them off like nothing. It's really nice to watch. The sort of half-hour mark onwards, I said, 10 minutes of football of such high quality, I investigated the stadium sponsor. Cherry Red Records, who we previously encountered as shirt sponsor for Wickham. They clearly, like Jonathan Ross, love their W's.
So are they still sponsoring Wickham then, or is that?
I don't know, actually. Maybe they're not.
And can you do both of those things, or?
I'd wonder.
Do you remember when Wednesday and Southampton were both sponsored by Sanderson in the 90s?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I think there's obviously a big thing with the history of AFC Wimbledon, there's a big emphasis on we are Wimbledon. We've got that history kind of thing. So like early on, the commentator was reeling off he was talking about our pink shirt, and he said, I remember they came here in a white shirt, and at one point they were here and they had green and white hoops. And I was like, is he talking about another team? Because as far as I know, we've never played at this ground. And then I looked, and the ground is a year old, but it's like just down the road from where their previous stadium was, and that was also called. So
Plough Lane.
Yeah. So he's talking like back 100 years ago, really.
Well, that's difficult, because then it's like, I remember having this conversation with an old work colleague, Paul, about when Wednesday played MK Dons during very much MK Dons' infancy as a football club. And I think that was back from probably the League One times of Sturrock. I think we were down there when we played them, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe it was a pre-season game but it was around that time anyway. And it was like Paul was talking about like looking in the program before that one, being like, here's the times we've come against Wednesday before. And it's like, we haven't played any of these teams before, because these are two different teams.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one single soul of a football club. That was gone. It's sad and it's shitty, but now we have two very different entities.
It's like they are trying to pull a kind of ship of Theseus sort of thing, aren't they, with the history? It's like all these things are different, but it's the same. Because it's like, yeah, at what point are you no longer that club? At what point do you know? But I think MK Dons officially, I think from a kind of a canon perspective in the Darren Moore cinematic universe, there was a kind of ceremonial handing over of the history by MK Dons. So they kind of, I think they've kind of held their hands up to the fact it's like, oh, we're not that. We are just a new club, by the way. So I think like they're almost like going like, we sort of needed for the old football league thing. We had to pretend we were you for a while, but here's your stuff back. Here's your passport. But it is still weird because that's the thing. You're looking at that ground, you're going like, well, we've played here before. This is like an identikit Lego stadium with 5 rows of seats all the way around. Like, we've not been here before. Don't lie. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, it's very odd.
It's difficult. It's a difficult kind of world to live in, kind of post all that kind of fallout. But still, I'm, as a Wednesday fan from my position, three different teams, 3 different football clubs.
Yeah, I think that's probably how I feel as well, to be honest.
I'm very powerful to AFC Wimbledon that they've come from where they are to where they are now.
Yeah.
It's a sign that the Football League pyramid does work and still has a bit left in the tank, even though we live in very just much capitalist times where, I don't know, Manchester United were criticised today for the flying to Leicester.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't think we'd do if we were Wednesday, but I don't know. They've got clearly oodles and oodles of cash. They can afford to do that if they want to.
Probably like an official airline that would have put the flight on for them as well for the publicity.
Probably, which hasn't worked out hilariously. But anyway.
Round off the half, we had a couple of chances. We had a shot from wing that was straight at the keeper, but had some rasp to it. And then we had Deli Bashir, who's again showing a great bit of strength to sort of shield the ball from the fullback, cut inside on his left, but he just missed the top corner with his effort. That would have been some goal.
It would have been, because it was such great determination. I mean, it was, a through ball that was just too long and overplayed, and the strength and determination to get there, to nick it off them. I mean, were they upset about in the Wimbledon commentary? The fans, the Wimbledon home fans seemed upset with that one. But I just thought it was just, no, you're just being too weak, really.
I think it's the sort of one we've looked for so many times through these recent weeks and not got. So I just think you just don't get those in this league.
Yeah. Did you hilariously see, I think it was 3 minutes before, I made another comment on the half-hour mark about Hartigan pointlessly dummied again, and then they had a shit free kick, which was funny. But the 39th minute, Iorfa won a soft free kick in a very hilarious fashion.
Oh, yeah.
He was kind of thing, and then he kind of just like fell backwards with his arms extended.
Yeah.
Like he was jumping onto a hotel bed.
They put us in a king room. Wow.
I'm doing an advert for Travelodge.
I sort of, my halftime thoughts were weird half once again, probably being about 0.025 better and grabbing the goal. They've had a lot of the ball, but aside from set pieces, barely threatened. Our distribution has been pretty uniformly abysmal, but on the odd occasion we have been effective. We actually sort of managed to hurt them. That's similar sort of thoughts from you at halftime. How did? Interestingly, I think one of the commentariat is being pilloried for saying that this was our. Oh, it's actually John Pearson. Pearson apparently said this is probably our best performance or one of our better performances at the end of the game. Were you feeling at halftime?
No, I think he's saying that from a position of being like, we were robbed, which I get. Like, I totally get that and believe that 100%. I don't think it's one of our best performances. I think we've played better. I think we played better against Morecambe, to be honest. If you want to kind of talk about games where, we were absolutely robbed, we were much better against Morecambe.
Yeah, but then I think we were. I do think this was a game that we were more than good enough in.
Definitely.
Like, I don't think we were
that's
good, but we were much better than Wimbledon. And well, I mean, until it all fell like we will talk about once it becomes a shambles at the end. But like, they barely did anything. They barely got the ball in our box for most of this game. We were pretty comfortable by and large until we completely self-destructed. So I to an extent, I do agree. I mean, well, it wasn't a great performance, but it was more than good enough. And that in this league, that's sort of how it works.
Yeah,
both
we were
bad, and whoever makes the least mistakes wins.
But we were. The thing I was going to say was, like, despite the play in the middle wasn't so great, the defending I thought was largely good up until the two goals, basically. Those mistakes are made. Outside of that, I mean, I wondered whether, like, I was getting ahead of myself, and we're getting ahead of stuff in the fabric of the game here, talking about so half time. But I was wondering about when we were doing this to be like, I can imagine us winning 2-1 and saying I felt disappointed for the defense. I didn't keep a clean sheet. I felt disappointed for Goldsmith. Yeah. And so I thought they did well. Midfield, I don't know. I guess it's interesting, but I still feel we're missing that. Maybe it's a very Sheffield Wednesday mentality. I think we're still missing presence in the middle of the park from a defensive perspective. Offensively, we were pretty good. Bannon was very good today. So, But if I'm looking at the performance, especially at halftime, that's the question you've asked me. The thing I would kind of say is I just thought we were much better with the chances we created.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't lethal counter-attacking football, but it was very good counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
We really made those things work.
And we did sort of carry on pretty much how we finished the half. At 46th minute, we had a great chance. Bannon fizzed in a really good cross, and Brown should have finished it really, but he missed the target. But that would have been an incredible way to start the second half off. Then there was a bit of
I think before that, like from the off, I mean, there was a great flick on from Patterson and Gregory.
Yeah,
Gregory was on the break on the edge of the box, and then he rifled one. It was blocked wide, right? But Brown was offside apparently, right, for that header. There was some pretty dodgy offsides today, I thought. Yeah, we don't. It's not a great camera angle. Did it also make you think that refereeing seems to be a very difficult job to get some kudos? Being a linesman, sometimes can be tough as well. I felt that the referee wasn't great today. I don't think he was terrible.
No.
But I wondered whether, in terms of the offside, the linesmen were just way off pace. I had a feeling that they couldn't keep up with the speed of the game.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. My next note I've got is 55th minute, which is a chance for Wimbledon from a corner. It sort of went over all the obvious headers of the ball and ended up with Asal, who'd been probably one of their bright players. That's number 10 for them. And he looked surprised by it and poked it towards the goal. And thankfully, it was a pretty easy save for Wildsmith.
Yeah, he just did like an ass scuff, didn't he, really?
Yeah. But it was a real looking down the barrel sort of moment in terms of the ball landing with him. Well, so now we're at 60 minutes. Sheffield Wednesday win a penalty. I know we didn't have a great angle, but what did you make of this incident?
Well, I was still kind of, there's so many moments in this game, which is heartbreaking for how it ended, to look at and say, there's so many double moments, quick 1-2s of attacking. Like, here's a chance, and here's another chance directly afterwards. Yeah. And we've missed this one. The first one was a good chance. The second one was an even better chance.
Yes.
So I was still I was making notes about that. I said we looked really fluid in the attack and on the counter. And I said that comment came from a great move, which Gregory was dispossessed for a corner, a really poor corner, which was from Bannon then.
Yes.
Really long, and then Brown puts it out for a goal kick.
It
went over everybody, and it was really heartbreaking. But then I remembered that we had that momentum. I thought that I was still het up about Wing missing the header.
Yeah.
So I was still focused on that before even.
I believe that is the penalty. I think Wing was pushed, and that's what was given.
Seeing everything else I've seen from Wing today, generous.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see. I genuinely couldn't see the penalty. I was happy we got the penalty.
Else was near. Nobody's. So basically, Wing made a run through the middle of So Patterson and Gregory were each on a post effectively, and Wing burst through the middle. And in the panic to respond to him, I think it's Kalambayi. Although now I'm seeing, Kalambayi. He basically put a hand on his back, and Wing went rolling into the goal, and that's what was given as the penalty. It looked really, really soft. We'd be fuming if it was given against us, partly because Dunkley cannot defend without touching his opponent. So he could, if that's a penalty, he's giving one away every game.
Yeah.
But Gregory himself, he steps up and took it well. Penalties. We should have had the Patterson one against Oxford. We didn't get it. We know how that game went in the end. So maybe this is the swings and roundabouts. We've got one that we didn't deserve. The other, a couple of weeks later, and finished it well. And this should. It felt like we were just going to batter them. Now there was huge gaps every time we came forward.
I know.
They made two changes. So this is, I guess, in retrospect, is a pivotal point in the game. But they hadn't had a target man to speak of. They went with two quick guys up front, and they were trying to work those two guys down the channels, and it didn't work. They then went for a big guy in the middle and three players coming off the back of him. And so that was their change. And it took a few minutes, but I think it did start to provide more of a threat for them. But the very first thing that happened after that change was we again had a couple of really good chances back to back.
Yeah.
66 minutes, Bannon feeds in Deli Bashiru, who seems to recover from his heavy touch. And I thought draw a foul from the keeper. I don't know whether the keeper got a touch or not, but I thought he flicked it over the keeper. And I think if we didn't have a penalty, we might have got a penalty there.
Right.
Refs don't really like giving away two penalties.
Two penalties to the team. No. Well, I felt there was probably a couple of instances of that, actually. That one, and probably I think there's another one later on.
So that's cleared off the line. And then it was closely followed by a poor volley from Wing with the goal gaping.
That was so bad.
It was awful. All the technique tips everybody knows were disobeyed.
Yeah, I think this is something we can come on to later. I'll be generous and say that, I think the same thing for FDB, the same thing for Wing. They're getting themselves into positions.
Yeah,
they haven't had a lot of fortune today, even though Wing did win as a penalty. But that was desperately poor. It was really that was just hit it, get your foot through it, get it on target. That's a goal, in my opinion.
Just needed a little bit of composure, didn't he? I think he rushed it. I think he hit it too high in the arc. You needed to wait just a couple of moments longer so that you could get a clean connection. Because hit the target and it's in really, unless you're very unlucky. But there we go. Classic Wednesday. They go up the other end and score. 68 minutes. Wildsmith does a Wildsmith. A decent save, but tees up.
It is a decent save.
For a follow-up shot, which was absolutely rattled home by the left back. Nesta Guinness Walker, which is a very enjoyable name.
What a name!
If I wasn't cursing it, I'd be kissing it. But it was classic. You palm it out central enough that the next thing that comes is a shot, and nobody's ready for it, and you don't seemingly have the recovery skills to get up and face the next shot. That's the. If you, I don't know what gets worked on the training ground, but if Wildsmith seemingly has this unbreakable desire to palm it out, not sideways, but on a diagonal, surely his next move has got to be bouncing back on his feet like a surfer and being ready for the next shot. Surely.
Yeah, no, that's true. But
it was really well. He
good
absolutely
finish. Yeah.
smashed it. and then we panic into a baffling sub. So
really, I was going to say, I think this is. I'm going to be honest. I think this is one of his better substitutions.
Well, I am willing to accept Deli Bashiru was tired and therefore worth substituting. Bringing on Berahino makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And he was terrible. Gave the ball away constantly. I don't think he did anything good.
Well, no, I thought that it made sense that I could see maybe the argument being like FDB's had a good run. He's a bit leggy. I like the idea of Patterson dropping back in midfield again. Maybe that kind of helps things a little bit.
Yeah, but then Patterson's also leggy. He spent 70 minutes playing midfield and attack.
Well, isn't there a further criticism to say? Because I think we should have made some more substitutions, which we didn't.
The problem is that with that bench, I don't know who you can bring on. Johnson for Brown, possibly, but well, it's a toss-up between who's the better defender out of those two.
Well, I think they're both probably about the same. Maybe Johnson's a little bit worse, but
yeah,
I don't know. Power of hindsight, all this type of stuff. I genuinely thought, especially when Brown looked like he'd hurt himself, and I thought that was probably the time for him to come off for Johnson.
I do remember that incident.
Yeah. Anyways, 71st, 72nd minute. Again, we have another double flurry of chances.
Yeah.
That was a good stop. I thought that was a really good stop from, is it Zanev, the keeper?
Yes.
From Wimbledon, from Berahino.
Yeah.
And then the cross. And then that was another good header from Gregory, which he stopped.
The great header. Yeah, absolutely. He really got a hold of that header, but unluckily, it's just that's the bit of the goal the keeper was covering. Unfortunately.
Oh, I said good goalkeeper. That was the first time I think that I've given some kudos to that goalkeeper. But there were two very, very big chances that he did very well with.
Both from Patterson crosses, by the way. Patterson is pretty effective once he gets out on that right wing.
Interesting, and we did a lot. We did a lot from the wings today.
Yeah,
well, the right wing especially, because I mean Hunt was incredible today.
Yeah, Hunt was great, but I think Patterson's a good crosser of the ball. For a guy who sort of looks like he's got no technique, he seems to pick out crosses pretty well. I think
you're saying good feet for a big man.
Good feet for a big man. I mean, good everything for a big man, really. Good old Pato. I just thought. So my thinking with the substitution, Berahino. Yes, it's a good save, but it's one of those where I'm if he's the fox in the box type guy that he's supposed to be, that's the sort of chance I want him to bury. I thought the keeper did well, but he also did get it. He sort of shot straight down his throat, really, because where it's just you, the ball, and the goalkeeper. That's where Berahino is supposed to be like at his most comfortable. He actually did better with a chance later in the game when it was offside and he like chipped the goalie in a one-on-one situation. He did much better with that one. It didn't matter. But for me, he just looks poor in a lot of ways. He looks I don't think he's very composed. I don't think he uses the ball well. In terms of being the sub for that moment in time when we needed to kind of get a hold of it and keep it, I just thought he wasn't the dude. I wonder in terms of possible subs, what does Corbeanu have to do to get on in a league game?
I don't know. We're getting. I don't know. It's getting automatically very. It feels very Gary Monk. It feels very Carlos Carvajal. It feels like. The fans are very basic. We're very basic creatures as fans, but I will say I don't think I ever see any kind of great defense of why this doesn't happen. But we don't ever seem to play full out wingers.
No.
So we get all these players.
It's weird when 7 of them.
Exactly. Considering who else have we got? We've got Shadipo. We've got who's more of a winger than a striker, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we've got Johnson. And we got Corbeanu, and none of them came on. And Shadipo, sorry, 4.
Yeah.
4 out of our We had no defense. I guess Martin
That's what
Johnson.
I'm saying. It was only wingers and strikers. We had so few options.
Well, we've seemed to have exhausted all of them right now, right? Because all of them are.
But we've got kids. Why is Brennan out on loan? Kieran Brennan is a perfectly good footballer who would have been a great person to bring on in this situation. He can play defensive midfield. He's 6'3" or whatever. But where is he? He's at Greasley or something. Gainsborough Trinity. It's bizarre. It's really, really weird. We are so thin at the back, and he's never let us down, Brennan. Every time Brennan has had to play, I've been impressed. He's a very decent midfielder and centre-back. He's fine. But instead of on our bench where we should be, because today that bench is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That bench we're expecting to go behind and maybe we'll catch them maybe we'll do what Wimbledon did to us, is what that bench is. The only thing that bench could possibly be used for. It couldn't be used to hold on to a game. It's very, very frustrating.
Still, I very much think that Brown should have come off for Johnson.
I probably would have done the same, to be honest.
Because I don't know what mark that Brown had his hobble, which looked like he was done. Looked like it was like, let's take him off, and especially with like the amount of players that we've lost. I'm sure like we'll not see Brown for next game. Yeah, I bet he's injured. I bet it's one of those, and I bet it's one of those where like, I don't know, he could still be injured anyway, but maybe we should have brought him off, because the bit that kind of worried me was the 75th minute. Brown gave the ball away, and we're lucky that Vassal pinged it straight at Wildsmith on the angle. That was bad. That was really bad.
Brown
but then
had
again,
bad moments though, because he also just like panically kicked it long when Gregory was like 10 feet, 20 feet offside. Just sort of aimlessly. He had time. He could have taken it down. I mean, I don't know whether I want him to take it down, but yeah, it's all this like facade of comfortableness in terms of possession on the ball. Brown's a weird figure for me because I like his energy is fantastic.
Yeah.
But his ability as a footballer is questionable. He when he manages to not get tackled, it looks like it's happened by accident. I don't know. I've seen him likened to Helan, and all I can think is, I wish he was as good as Helan, because he's not. I mean, he's not in the literally not in the same league, but he's certainly not. Should we bite the bullet and talk about 85th minute?
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good connection.
Yeah, sinking deeper and deeper. Iorfa is done on the halfway line by the tricky Asal. The ball is crossed in from the left. Brown doesn't deal with his man.
Yeah.
And he shoots. Wait for it. Back across Wildsmith, who is, say it with me, too close to his near post. That's a bingo. Full house, everyone, with a wacky sub killing our momentum and a double Wildsmith. Congratulations. You win nothing. Just like Sheffield
You win
Wednesday.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I want to say. Brown's looking leggy. He's pulling some in. It looks like he's injured.
Yeah.
Drops a bollock on the 75th minute. Loses his man completely.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that difficult of a foot race. If he's lost the foot race, he should be more in a position to block what Rudoni did.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So that's bad to start with. The follow-up thing that's bad, like I completely agree. Wildsmith's positioning is fucking terrible for this. It was a good cross, I'll say that, but it was way too easy for Rodoni. He didn't need to make it that simple.
Oh, so easy. Yeah.
There we go. It's just, we've had, this is another game. I'll just jump ahead. I'll do the last thing. Stoppage time, good counter work from Wednesday with a corner. Wing swings over. Dunkley volleys it well, and surely it's another corner. But no, the referee is crap.
Oh, yeah.
No, the referee is fucking terrible, so we don't get another corner.
Referee. Yeah.
In fact, I wondered whether it would have been generous if it allowed on the 90 plus 4, just over the 4th minute, would have allowed Wing to play that on. But I think, I probably would have been generous, but I don't know. It seemed like we were going to have an attack moment, but the referee...
You're supposed to have at least the time. And we had an injury during the minutes. Of time added on. Anyway. It's... it was another howler to begin things though by Iorfa, and he has become more susceptible to howlers than Dunkley of late. Dunkley had a really good game today.
That seems fair.
Which we said last game as well, and I think Iorfa didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit worried about him. I don't know what's up with him, and we don't have any options. I don't know whether he's thinking about moving on or whatever. I don't know whether his head's elsewhere, but the fact it was all so easy was we lost possession when we didn't need to. We lost possession under very little pressure, and then Dunkley is completely at sea. He's gone hard for the guy and missed, which has just let them have complete carte blanche up that wing.
Mm.
The ball in under no pressure. There's so many errors in that goal.
Yeah.
And we had the final use of the same pun by the Wimbledon commentator. We thought they were going to hit us with Gregory's goal, but in the end, it was the Dons that ruffled the Owls' feathers.
I'd love to kick that guy in the balls. He sounds like an absolute piece of shit, really.
It's devastating. So it's another draw that feels like a loss.
Yeah.
It's more points dropped from winning positions, which we've done at Shrewsbury, Ipswich, and Ipswich already.
Yeah.
6 points in the past month we've given away from winning positions, which wouldn't be as bad if we occasionally won points from losing positions. But we know we never do that either. We've got we must be sort of have people searching through the record books to see the last time a team had as bad a run of games, a run of form after going behind as we have. Because it's hundreds of games, or it's 100 games. It's not hundreds of games. Just in terms of updates on the Adeniran missed the game with a muscle spasm, but should be available for Tuesday. And Wildsmith was always going to play in goal after BPF's return,
which I think is fair. I think after today, it's really. I know we had an episode semi-recently, a couple of weeks ago, where after BPF did another clanger, I offered that. I think I've seen. I don't know. I don't want to completely not see anything from Wild. We will need to see Wildsmith at times this season, and there'll be rotation as well, right? So I think it's a fair decision to not play Bailey Peacock Farrell today. But again, like I'm saying to you, please tell me there's not another international break, because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Peacock Farrell again for 1 game, 2 game, and then possibly 3 games when he comes back, and then he's only trained on the Friday because that's what they said, because he's back and he's jet lagged from I don't know, a friendly win against Estonia or some shite. I don't know. I don't care. I really don't give a shit about it.
No.
But then I'm not a Northern Ireland fan, so it doesn't mean anything to me, But I'd rather just not see much more from Wildsmith, especially after today. I'm annoyed. I'm upset. We've lost thanks to him.
Yeah. It's just a sickener, and I think sometimes it's a good thing recording the show soon after the end of the match, because we capture that emotion. But I think we're both absolutely down in our boots after this one, because we've done more than enough. We've done more than enough to win this game, and then we've handed 2 of those points back to the opposition today. Completely undeserved. That's really the only 2 shots they had in the game, I think. And they both, obviously, because we did the classic Wildsmith, it was 3 shots, wasn't it? Because you have the first one, but you get to score the second. That's the fun Dawson and Wildsmith gamble. Obviously there's a lot of knee-jerk, more out type talk. It's hard because we'd sort of done enough, and to an extent, I think it was a bad choice of substitution, but we did have to make some subs at some point. We needed some fresh legs. Yeah. So,
and I wouldn't want to take. I don't know. It'd be madness to take Patterson off.
Yeah.
It's a difficulty, right? You've got players who are leggy and looking tired, but then they're having such good games, right? I definitely not want to take Gregory off. That doesn't make any sense. No, but then that's a problem. Like, we're playing 5 at the back. We're playing all our defensive options with the exception of Marvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's not really that much of a defensive option.
He's not really a defender, is he?
No.
So, he just happens to be a better winger when he plays in defence.
Yeah, that's true.
So, as it's a draw, it's fairly. Is it fairly obvious that who the sort of star performer or honourable mention goes to?
I think it is. Yeah, it's Lee Gregory, isn't it? 5 goals. 5 goals at this stage of the season. So let's have a look, and I want to bring up the table because, that's something else to think about looking at the table right now. It's a little bit false because there's been a number of games which haven't happened.
Yeah.
We've got teams, Wigan and Sunderland, who've played 11 games. Obviously, Sunderland are missing a game, which is against Sheffield Wednesday, which is our 12th game, but there's other teams who played 13 games. Saying that, though, we're kind of in the middle of that. We've got 12 games. A couple of teams, 5 teams have played 11 games within this league. And then basically, it seems like it's like 5 teams who've played 13 games because of this wacky kind of schedule.
Yeah.
So saying that, we're kind of in the middle of that, and we're basically level with the playoffs. We're level on points with MK Dons. They've got a goal difference of 5, a goal difference of 2 as we're recording this. I'm not sure if there's any other games tomorrow. I don't think there are. We're basically where we seem to be. It seems like it's interesting. Look at that's a very strong top 4. Teams are doing exceptionally well. Plymouth, Wycombe, Wigan, Sunderland.
Wigan have only conceded 7 goals.
It's insane. I know.
And we've scored 2 of those.
We've scored 2 of those. I know. They won. They went to Bolton and won 4-0 today.
They're
So we're kind of doing okay, but there's just so many drop points. There's so many questions still about this lineup. There's, we're not fortunate. We're not blessed with injuries. We never are at Sheffield Wednesday. That's a concurrent recurring theme. But
yes.
I don't know. There's a lot of resources given to Darren Moore, and it's not, I don't know if it's quite, the output's the same as the input, right?
Aren't we due Trumpy Bum back at some point soon?
That's a really interesting question. Have we seen?
I thought we were told October.
And now
November.
In the midst of October.
All right,
and it's gone very quiet on the. He's not.
Octi Doggy.
He's never seen. It's what?
We're in the midst of Octi Doggy.
Octi Doggy. Sorry, you just remind me of a terrible eBay advert I keep seeing all the time.
oh dear. I hate that advert.
I see it all the time on iFollow. It's one of the only 7 adverts we have access to. That and,
I would
Jimmy Bullard.
I would gleefully strangle him and just take such pleasure in watching the life leave his eye. I got to get fitty, so I got a bikey, and then I got that. Who's that? That's my doggy. Oh, die. Awful advert, awful man. Just the worst.
And what did you do with that guilt chance with a woman who's clearly out of your league? Oh, I fucking ruined it, didn't I? I ruined it with swagger. Great, brilliant. Let's just fuck. Youth is wasted on the young, I guess.
It certainly is. Sorry to go across you there. Yeah, we're not seeing. Yeah, I think you were going to say we're not seeing him sort of coquettishly batting his eyelashes in the background of HelloFresh videos yet, are we?
No, you're not. Yeah, no, we haven't. We've heard nothing about Windass. I don't know where he is. He's on Twitter.
He's on Twitter.
We should ask him.
Dear Mr. Trumpy Bum, when will you be back playing football?
Dear Joshy. Joshy.
But yeah, as you say, for all the ups and downs, we're sort of there or thereabouts, which is where we thought we'd be. Unless you're a churlish person, a mad person that thought we were going to bought into the HMS Piss the League stuff. Really, this is about what we expected. Maybe a little bit under where we would have expected, but we've got I think the disappointing thing with the draw today is this was looking like a very promising little run of games because we are. This is today's version of the league, but we're playing. So we were playing Wimbledon in 17th. We play Cambridge, who are 18th next, and then after that we've got Lincoln City, who have gone up a bit now. But previously, we were playing the 17th, 18th, and 19th teams in a row, basically, which was looking like kind of fill your boots territory. And we have gone along, and we're wearing Crocs, and they've got holes in. So we spent 60 minutes filling our boots, and the remaining 30 minutes trying to hold in what we could.
These boots are made for leaking.
These boots are made for leaking. And they're also ugly as sin.
So I guess we didn't finish off Gregory's star man. That's a really good return to be. That's what I was going to look at where we are on the table and say. How many games? So it's 12 games out of 46. So we're almost a third of the way through getting there. Getting to that, we're about 30% mark.
Yeah, thereabouts. Or is it more like a quarter?
Almost. Yeah, let's call it a quarter. Fuck it. Yeah, it's a quarter of the way through the season. Sorry, we're about there, and we've got a player who's got 5 goals. We said early season. I said that we should have a number 9. Who's going to get 15 to 20 goals. It looks like he's on his way.
Yeah.
And we gave him the penalty to score, which is what you do with 15, 20 goal season strikers.
Exactly.
And thankfully he scored it. So I don't have to see Bannon artfully missing one.
Do you want to know who can you guess who has had the best single performance in League One this season? It's a Sheffield Wednesday player. Or he's the best. I guess on average, he's currently got the highest rating.
Is it Bannon?
It's Massimo Luongo with his 8.0 in his one appearance.
Right, because he's never going to ruin that. Best player in the league. Yeah, fair enough. That was a really good performance from him. Yeah,
it was really good.
Honourable mentions. I thought Bannon was good today.
I also thought Bannon was good today, particularly defensively. He bailed us out quite a few times. Really well.
Hunt was
Whether
fantastic.
that should be happening or not. What was you saying?
Hunt was fantastic.
I thought Hunt was great. Lots of good deliveries, dangerous balls in.
Liked what we saw of FDB, despite the end product wasn't so good.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to give some kudos to Lewis Wing, despite
getting there.
For getting there. Yeah, that seemed a big thing. He seemed to maybe have a knack of popping into the box.
Yeah.
I'm really confused as to who's doing what roles. I think there's some things that we don't know about what the players are.
They're a bit doing everything, aren't they, those three?
Yeah, which is maybe is a bit of a unorthodox bit of praise for more. Maybe he's seeing some things that we aren't seeing.
And today was interesting in that the game there wasn't much of the game happened in the middle of the pitch. Both teams were trying to use the wings, I think. So it sort of didn't matter. We didn't have a huge amount of presence there because I don't think they did either. And I think they were kind of bypassing it too. So, yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I thought Deli Bashir, as you say, if one of those goes in, we're raving about how well he played.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the fact that he's wanting to take those chances. Similar to Adeniran, the sight of him bursting onto the ball and pushing past a man or two is a really nice thing to see. And they're really the only 2 players that do that. And I think one of them should have a presence in the team at all times, just because you need to do that sometimes. You need to break down those boundaries and sort of force things to happen, and they're able to do that. Because Bannon's passing if there's gaps, Bannon generally will find them pretty conclusively. We don't need another passer of the ball, which I think is where Wings sort of struggled occasionally, is finding a role when everybody just passes to Bannon all the time. What do you do if you're kind of a ball player who you're just living off scraps? I think he does end up forcing things a bit more often than he needs to. But yeah, good to see him sort of getting in those positions. Hopefully he'll start finishing off a few more of them. Villain of the piece?
Probably Wildsmith.
It's a shame. It always ends this way with these two.
I know.
Marginally good work, which then just collapses in flames. Just melts.
Thrown clearly out the window. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. I think that feels like a good time to wrap things up and wish people well for the week. We've got a 2-game week coming up, and they're both against teams that we would hope to get something out of those games. So
I was going to make the final note as well, Rich, is that Wednesday played Wimbledon today away. They're playing Cambridge away. By my calculations, they should stay in hotels in Wellwyn Garden City, because that is equidistant between both of them.
Very good. And you can tell that you are now a native North American person by the pronunciation.
Wellwyn Garden City.
Yeah. Sometimes when you want to go up to Edinburgh, you can't get up there, so you only get as far as Wellwyn Garden City.
Not even as far as Leicester.
No, one cannot get to Leicester for love nor money.
I asked the guy, I said, how about Luga Baruga? Could not get there either.
He said, you're going to have to go via Norwich. So we did. Fun times. I will say cheerio, Luke, and wish you well. Same to the folks at home. Cheery bye.
Cheery bye, everybody.